We are now ready to move on to the second word in the phrase Baruch Atoh Hashem, namely Atoh, which means you. The Rashba, in one of his responsa, raises the question, why was the text of the blessing established to be partially in the second person and partially in the third person? Now, I don't know if this is something that people are taught at an early age. I didn't know this until relatively late in my learning life, that the Berachos are grammatically incorrect, okay, or at least grammatically inconsistent. So, for example, we say, Baruch Atoh Hashem, you Hashem are the source of all blessing, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvosav, that he sanctified us with his commandments. Really, if we want to be grammatically correct, we would say, Baruch Atoh Hashem, you Hashem are the source of all blessing, asher kiddashtanu b'mitzvosecha, that you sanctified us with your commandments. Or we would say it entirely in third person, Baruch Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kiddashanu b'mitzvosav, keeping it with he the entire time. Another example, we say, Baruch Atoh Hashem, you Hashem are the source of blessing, Elokeinu melech haolam, shakol nihye bidvaro, that everything came into being with his word. Really, it should be shakol nihye bidvarcha, everything came into being with your word. Or we could say shakol nihye bidvaro, but then take out the atah from the first part of the bracha. So the question is, why do we switch mid-berachah? So the Rashba gives two answers. The first is, know that the masters of wisdom possess an exalted esoteric idea, a sod nisgav, but we must have no involvement in hidden things. So this is a Rashba code for what I guess is called a Kabbalistic secret. The Rashba's policy is he does not explain these Kabbalistic secrets, and neither will we, also because we can't understand them. But then he says, however, there is a revealed reason which is of great benefit in the fact that they establish the text of the blessings in this manner, i.e. in the second person and third person voice. You already know that there are two fundamental principles upon which everything is built. The first is to know that he, blessed is he, is a necessary existence, and there is no doubt about this whatsoever, as the proof of this has been made exceedingly clear and publicized. So for those not familiar, the term necessary existence is philosophical jargon, which the Rambam explains in the beginning of Hilchos Yesodi Torah. The foundation of foundations and the pillar of all science is to know that there is a primary existence who brought all of existence into being. And all of the existences from heaven and earth and everything in between only exist from the reality of his existence. And if theoretically he did not exist, nothing else would be able to exist. And if theoretically all of the other existences besides him didn't exist, he alone would exist, and he would not be negated by their negation. For all the existences need him, but he, blessed is he, does not need them nor any one of them. So in other words, Hashem is completely independent in his existence. He doesn't depend on anything else, whereas everything else in the universe is a contingent or a dependent existence, dependent namely on Hashem's will for us to exist. Therefore, his reality is not like the reality of any one of them. This is what the prophet meant when he said, Hashem, God, is real. He alone is real, and nothing else is real like his reality. This is what the Torah meant when it said, there is nothing else besides him, meaning to say, there is no true existence besides him that is like him. The Rambam is explaining these psukim because obviously you can't take the pasuk literally to say that nothing else exists besides Hashem, right? That would be ridiculous. That would be a denial of the first part of Berachos. We hold that God created the universe. The universe does exist, yet the existence of the universe and everything in it is different from the existence of Hashem because the universe is dependent, whereas Hashem is independent. Okay, back to the Rashba. So Hashem is a necessary existence. The second is that he alone comprehends his own reality. The Rambam elaborates on this in the second chapter of Yesodi Torah, where he explains that human beings cannot have any positive knowledge of Hashem. The angels can, but the angels cannot have complete knowledge of Hashem. The only one who completely understands Hashem is himself. Thus, it is evident to everyone that he exists, but the reality of his being is hidden and concealed from all. So in other words, we know 100% that Hashem exists. That's the Rashba's first point. But his second point is that the nature of his existence is hidden from us. In order to establish these two fundamentals in our souls, the sages established the text in second person and third person. You, Hashem, are the source of blessing is like speaking with someone who is present and publicly known and with whom one is speaking face to face. But in order to not confuse one's thoughts by thinking that he exists in the manner of other existences, or that there is a relationship between his existence and their existence, the sages established the text, he sanctified us, as opposed to you sanctified us, in order to establish in our souls that even though he is widely known, the essence of his existence is hidden and concealed, to the extent that it is impossible to speak of him except in the third person, blessed is he. So to sum it up, we start off every bracha by saying Baruch Atoh Hashem, and we focus on the fact that Hashem, his existence is very real to us, the fact that he exists, as if we're speaking to him, as if we're talking to a being who is present. But then in order to not fall into the trap of comparing Hashem's existence to other existences, and to not fall into the trap of thinking that we understand him, we immediately switch to third person for the remainder of the bracha to speak of him as though he's not there, just to emphasize how far removed he is from our comprehension.